Hey Facebook, welcome to Lawn Doctor Live. I am here with the editor of Landscape Management Magazine, Marisa Palmieri. How are you doing today?
I'm great. How are you, Ken?
I am, you know what, I'm doing better now that we're here in Florida rather than that nasty, Michigan
Ohio, so
rainy weather. I got in the plane, I almost floated away because there's so much rain coming down, but here, what was it? It's like 84 degrees, and it's beautiful.
sun's out. Yeah, can't complain.
So, tell me a little bit about you. I mean, what's your background? What's your story? From college forward. How did you get into this industry, and how are you the editor of one of the largest lawn care and landscape publications in the green industry?
So I went to Ohio University in Athens, Ohio, for journalism. So I was never really exactly sure what I wanted to do in relation to journalism, but I always, I liked English class in high school, and I like research, and that's so that led me into journalism. I like hearing people's stories and telling people's stories, so that led me to journalism. And at one point I thought I wanted to write for Rolling Stone or something
awesome.
like that, but I always really knew I was going to come back to Cleveland.
Yeah.
Which is where I'm from, and which is where I live today, and where our parent company, North Coast Media, is based. Excuse me. So I got an internship in college in business-to-business publishing. I worked for a company that's called Advanced Star Communications, and I worked on a magazine called Hotel and Motel Management. So it was
totally different vertical than the lawn care space, right?
Exactly. But that was kind of my first step into B2B publishing, and I really liked it. Again, I learned I liked writing about business, learning about business, and just, it's no matter what aspect of journalism you work in, you're really just telling people stories. So so from there, that just allowed me to get another internship, and then my first job out of college was with a B2B company, and there's actually a lot of B2B or trade publishing companies based in Cleveland. So I got a job with one of them. The first magazine I was an associate editor for was called Paperboard Packaging. So again, completely different.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, there's
So there was multiple changes, I guess, in the direction to where you're at today, to being the editor of the Landscape Management Magazine.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
Okay.
So, but again, you can tell somebody's story. You understand a little bit about business, and you can kind of work for anyone.
Right.
But after that, I worked for a magazine in the green industry, and I really liked the landscape industry. People and lawn care are the nicest people that you'll ever meet. People are really willing to share and open, and they're I'm sure you've learned here at this event, people will tell you anything you want to know about their business.
I've learned a ton. This is such a great event that you guys put on. I mean, with me being a young entrepreneur in the industry, it's really easy for me to reach up to people in relationships that are, where that I want to be. I mean, I had talked to you about reaching out to Chris in Boston, Massachusetts. He's with Smart Lawn now, but he sold his Noon Turf Care franchise or business, and he was more than willing to share how he got to where he was, and then pay it forward to me to inspire me and motivate me, and I say, hey, this is possible, dude. Go out and get it, right?
Right.
And so that's one thing I appreciate about the industry too. It's so open; people are willing to share. So I mean, that probably makes it easier for you for writing stories, right?
Makes it much easier for me to do my job.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate that, and everyone's down to earth, and like I said, there's a lot of family businesses. We were talking about that earlier, and the industry feels like a big family sometimes. So that's great, because some of the other industries I've worked in, people haven't been like that. They think that everything they're doing
trade secrets. It's so secretive.
So unique, and I couldn't possibly talk about that. And the difference in this industry too is it's so fragmented. There's a couple large national companies, and there's lots of large regional companies, but for the most part, people aren't competing on a national level. So,
do they ever come to these things, the bigger guys?
Yeah, well, sometimes. Yeah.
Here and there?
Yeah.
Okay. Because everybody's represented here, right? So, I mean, we're considered a small company compared to some of the big boys here. But
your individual franchise.
Yeah,
but
our individual for Lawn Doctor is a whole large company, but our individual unit is smaller. Getting larger, though.
Yeah.
Going to be the largest. But we're growing very quickly. And, there's businesses of all sizes here. And that's one thing I appreciate about being here. There's guys who are 50, 60, 70, and they're telling me I had a nice conversation with the Permagreen representative last night, and he's telling me stories about back in the day, the Duke brothers with True Green. And I'm like, are they still alive? I want to meet them, right? And like hear the stories behind it, because I love getting those stories. What did it look like? I know that True Green's $1 billion company now, but what did it look like 60 years ago? What this industry didn't even exist, really.
60
for the
years
most
ago?
part.
Yeah, no,
I mean,
it was just getting started.
It was just getting started. It was a newer concept with paying people to do your lawn, and now it's become a status symbol, right? Green, thick, and weed-free turf is like, maybe like a new Mercedes-Benz. It's the status symbol of things that people appreciate.
Right.
So what do you see that parallels between that job that you had at the hotel and the motel magazine in this one? You said that people in this industry are more willing to share. Are there any other like correlations that you notice between each magazine?
Well, that was an internship, but
Okay.
Just in to your question though, in general, I think most people and most small businesses in the country are just trying every day. They're entrepreneurs. They're going
Right.
out there. They're trying to do the right thing for their business, for their family, and for the people that work for them. And a lot of people, I think, who don't work in or understand business, why would you want to grow?
Right.
People can't get their mind
Right.
around that. And when you're here and you talk to people and they're not sure how fast they should grow, but they all know that they do want to grow so that they can provide opportunities for other people.
Right.
And I think that's really what business is and what it comes down to. And it's pretty interesting when you see and hear that business people aren't out to just make a profit
No.
for themselves. I mean, of course that's part of it, but ultimately it's to provide opportunity for other people, and that's, I think, the one main thing I learned and have really been interested in.
Absolutely. I mean, we talked about that this morning. I mean, everybody in this room is growing, right? We all want to grow our businesses. We all want to create new opportunities for people to advance their careers financially and, personally. Like in our company, it's a big thing with us that I want to help my people as we grow, personally develop into stronger people, people that are more capable of going out and introducing themselves to people to get them known, in the community and out doing great things. And it's always fun for me. We do a lot of parades and like really we own a street in Kentwood that we pick up trash every year. And it's like those types of community things beyond just like trying to sell somebody lawn care is one thing I really appreciate about a lot of these guys here, because it was this common theme today on the panel that we had. Everybody wanted to create a culture where their employees can thrive and have opportunity, and I think it's not like that with a lot of industries. You think that a lot of business people sometimes maybe just get greedy about the money, but these guys are willing to, pay people well, very well. Some of them, I was talking to them last night at the networking that we were doing, and some of these guys are getting paid great money, sometimes not even having a college degree. They're getting paid really good money, and they're providing a great service. I mean,
you get to work outside. I'm sure working outside isn't always
how cool
it's cracked up to be.
I mean, how cool is that? Like giving somebody a green, thick, weed-free lawn is pretty cool, especially if they couldn't do it themselves. And the fact that it's less than a can of Coke a day. I mean, it seems like a good value to me. So, on that note, how's your green thumb? Is it good? Or how's your lawn looking at home?
My lawn does not look great. We should probably hire
somebody.
But we're not at the
I'm
point.
sure you know a few people, right?
I do. Yes, I do. We're not. Yeah, we need to hire somebody.
You know what? It's probably because you guys are growing so quickly with landscape management that all your attention's on and focus is on growing the landscape management outside of work. I know that you have a husband, right?
Yep.
And children. So tell me a little bit about them.
Okay, so I have my husband, Mike. We've been married for almost 10 years. I can't believe that.
Oh, wow.
We have 2 daughters. Sadie is 8, just turned 8 a couple days ago, and Paige is 6, so they're in 2nd grade and 1st grade. And we live in a suburb outside of Cleveland, and with young kids, our life's busy, but it's good. And while we don't have a great looking lawn, we've, this past year the past 2 years really, we've had a little garden, a little plot in our community garden. So we're working on our green thumb that way. We just like to, spend time outside. We have amazing Metro Park system in Cleveland, so we try to get down there as much as we can and just hike and be outside. And yeah, nothing too crazy or exciting.
That's
but
awesome.
We like it.
That's awesome. So, I mean, when you first got into journalism, how did you get, like, what seeded that dream? Or what was it? Just I like writing in class? Was it like I like English class and reading books? Like, what was it that made you say, I want to be a journalist one day?
Yeah, I was thinking about that because you told me you were going to ask
Yeah,
me that.
yeah.
And I didn't have like a, one moment, I would say. I've always liked English and history and research and learning,
Right.
And that's one thing I get to do in my job is learn every day, learn about people and their stories. And also, I get paid to go to really cool workshops and get some of the best business training in the world.
And put them on, too. I mean, this is a one-of-a-kind event. I know with Lawn Doctor, we have a national convention that's always really useful knowledge, going to that and meeting with people and hearing, what they're doing to grow their businesses. But outside of our franchise system, it's always helpful to hear from other independent operators that are, out there on their own, forging their own path. They might have ideas that are outside of the franchise system that I take and put it into my business, and that wouldn't be cultivated without, an opportunity like this that we have going on here.
Yeah, I'm curious, are there one or two ideas that you picked up while you've been here at the Growth Summit?
So I've gotten some good intel. I've been gathering some intel. I've been trying to piece together the True Green story outside of what's been published. And there's some old timers here that have some great info on it. I mean, these are guys. He's like, yeah, go talk to this guy in California. He's like 90. You better go see him quickly, right, and get it on video, because I think that story just fascinates me. Because you look at their company and they have 2.3 million customers, over $1 billion in revenue. And you just don't think of that with being a lawn care company, and they provide so many great jobs to people, and they have great training systems. I mean, I want to just, I'm like you. I like to research things.
You want to be like a historian.
I reverse engineer it so I can pull out what got them to where they're at today, and steal those qualities and apply those into my business too. But just being here, just being around guys that, they're doing great. There's parameters to be invited to the event, right? Mm-hmm. So, they're doing great. They're part of the upper 10%, I'd say, of people in the industry. And it's nice hearing that even at 50, even at 60, they still want more, right? Mm-hmm. They want to provide more opportunities. So it's exciting for me being 26, like this young punk 26-year-old kid. Like, I'm excited that, even at 50 and 60 years old, there's still going to be a lot of energy behind it. These guys are they're like ready to go. They're like, I want to learn about Facebook and YouTube and like, what's this video thing you're doing right now? Right. So it's very interesting. And you don't think of as lawn, and I think a lot of times when I tell people like I'm in lawn care, they think I'm just like a guy out there cutting grass.
Right.
But these are advanced business people. I mean, they have very sophisticated businesses, and they're very successful. So it's not just throwing a lawnmower in the back of a pickup truck. Okay, it's right. These are very advanced businesses, and people are experiencing a lot of success, and they motivate me too. Hopefully, I motivate them. But that was fun speaking on the panel today.
You did great.
Thank you. What's something that you're taking away from this? What's the overall vibe you're getting from everybody here? Because I know in all the magazines they write, employment's always the hardest thing to do, finding great people.
Yeah, it is the number one issue, and I feel like we talk about it ad nauseum, right, because that's what everyone tells us, so that's what they want to hear,
right.
Stories of how other people are being successful. And I think what it comes down to, what I hear the successful companies say is, they're trying to build a culture that's successful so that they get people to want to stay with them. And that they're trying to treat recruiting more like marketing,
right?
To keep people coming in,
right? And that's, to be honest, that's one reason why we're doing this show and this interview, because I'm trying to position myself as the expert in the space. Even though I'm only 26, I'm positioning myself as the expert. Like, wow, that guy's doing something different. Mm-hmm. This guy over here is not doing that,
right?
But he is. So he's thinking about it differently, and so far it's been getting me a lot of attention. And so if people know who I am, I'm more inclined to hire them, and they're more inclined to come apply for a job if they know I exist, right?
Right, and you're more approachable if they've
Right.
seen you on camera. And
Right, and
cool philosophy.
And yeah, so because I talked to different franchisees and they pay all this money for like placing job placement ads and stuff like that. And so far we haven't had to do that because there's a lot of good talent that just want opportunity.
Right.
Like they're stuck at their job wherever they're at. They want opportunity. They want to be in a vertical or with a company that's going to give them opportunity to grow and advance. I mean, I feel like that's what everybody wants, is to keep moving on and doing better in some facet, right? Whether it's in family or business. And I think that all starts with like having a purpose every morning and waking up and going to work and, you know, doing what you love. So that's awesome that you get to do what you love every day. And that's,
yeah, we have a great company and a great team, and people just want to be a part of something, I think, you know, more than just getting a check. Even though people say it's about money, it usually isn't, right?
Right. Like if I'm going to be, I'm not a writer by any means, but I did start a blog and I'd sent that to you, and I write articles, and you know, it's probably not the best grammar, and I probably should have paid attention more in English, right? But you know, I'm going to hire an editor and just have him go through my blog and clean it up. But it's very interesting to me where print is going with all this. So, you know, in the digital space, everything's going digital, right? There's digital copies of Landscape Management magazine. But I'll tell you what, when I get that phone call every year about renewing the publication, I tell them to send me the print and send me like 2 or 3 of them, because I like putting them in the office for the guys to read about all their success stories. Maybe they're going to catch something in that magazine that I missed, because I want to be paying attention to what everybody else is doing in the space. So, I mean, what's your opinion on print and everything going the move to digital? Do you think there's, in 20 years from now, we're still going to have magazines in print, in your opinion?
I definitely think so. There's more magazines being launched like this year than any time in history. People are, you know, can't ignore digital, and we're all on our phones all the time. And there's such a huge amount of content, but there's definitely something to be said for holding that magazine in your hand. It's a different experience.
It's real, right?
When you're on your device, it's distraction, or you're working, right? That's what we hear in surveys and focus groups that we've done, that the digital edition feels like work because you're on your computer, but you can relax with the print magazine.
Right.
People take it on vacation, you know.
I have copies in my bag of like a couple issues ago, because I haven't read that issue yet. So and we survey, you know, all the time and make sure we're what's the percentage like between digital to paper readers? I'm curious about that. Do you have a data on that?
I don't know, but I mean, almost. I think our circulation's like 65,000. I think it's like 60s in print and 5s digital. Okay. So most people are like you. They still want it. And when we survey, it's well over 80% of people say they still prefer print. And you know, that's a little different B2B to consumer media or the newspaper. I mean, I don't get a newspaper at my house anymore every day. But
so where do you get your news from? Is it Facebook? I'm always curious about that.
Yeah, actually, that's an interview question that I ask when we're hiring people. I do get most of my news from, I mean, I usually go to like Cleveland.com, which is my local, I live in Cleveland, so I'll check out our Cleveland Plain Dealer website in the morning to see what's going on locally. I listen to NPR on my way into work usually, and I see headlines on social media. So from those places where I get my daily news, but I still get some print magazines at home, and I do appreciate and I love that print magazine experience, and I think most people do.
Yeah, there's something about seeing a newsstand, and like I'm in the gas station, you see whatever the headline is on the news story that day, and it's just, you wouldn't get that with the digital, because you have to go and find it rather than it just showing up. So it's a very real thing.
And then you get a text, and then you got to check your email, and then the phone rings.
It is work. Right?
And you're distracted immediately.
Right. So that's one thing I like about the print, is that it's very, no matter what the magazine is, if you're in it, and we had talked about this before we hopped on live, is, you know, we'd go into Site 1 and there'd be irrigation guys in there, and Lance.
9:45. Please move on to your next meeting.
Thank you, Alexa. Amazon Alexa. No, I'm just kidding.
It's a little flavor of the event.
I know, right? So that's how you know it's live and real, because that was not planned. So I'm going into Site 1 Landscape Supply, That's where we get our product from. And they're like, "Oh, I saw your article in Lawn and Landscape magazine, the profile, the backstory."
Landscape management.
I'm sorry, landscape management. It's been a long
couple of days.
Yeah, long couple of days. Lots of sun too. So, but we go in there and they're like, "Yeah, I saw your profile in the magazine," and they're like, they think it's the coolest thing in the world. So that it's like real and it's distributed. So that's like 65,000 people get the magazine.
Yeah. In print and online,
Like that's possibly 65 more thousand people that know me than before.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. So when you think about newspaper distribution, like USA Today, like you get in the USA Today, their distribution, like all those people can see you and know who you are, and then they can buy from you or elect you, right? I mean, it's just like if people don't know you, then they can't exchange anything with you, whether it's
right.
money or influence or anything like that. So that's very interesting to me. So what would you say? There's a young journalist student. The landscape, pun intended, right, is a little it's changing, right? Because no matter what, 50 years from now, we're still going to have written word, we're going to have video, and we're going to have audio.
Right.
That's never going to change. So what would you encourage young up-and-coming journalists to do? Do you guys have an internship program for landscape management?
We do. We've had interns in the past. I would frankly just encourage them to learn all the new tools. I mean, print is still important. Grammar and telling a story. Those are kind of table stakes. You need to have those.
Right. That's the foundation.
Or if you would like to get a job,
right.
You definitely need to have the digital skills that I learned a little bit of that. I graduated college in 2005, so
okay.
It's like right on the cusp of the digital exploding. You need to learn what all of our digital content producers, which we have one of those here with us. She's taken video for us. You need to learn how to do this.
Right. It's a changing world and it's new and it's
coding is such a big thing. You at least probably need to know HTML. You just need to be comfortable always learning what's coming out next. And we're lucky enough to be able to hire those people, but it's still stuff I need to do as well.
So, I mean, you said you interviewed people as a journalist. I mean, if they're in journalism school, should they be like creating a blog and just focusing on the craft of writing as much as possible and publishing as much as possible, just to get content out there so they get known? Is that helpful for like a job applicant?
Hurt. I mean, it always. I mean, probably more internships and published clips. Like somebody else saw value in your work and published it.
Right.
Like anyone can publish whatever they want online, and that's fine.
Right.
And you should be writing. So it's looks ambitious to have your own blog or website. So definitely. And most journalism students now, you're not going to graduate without making an online portfolio that includes a blog. But getting published by as many places as you can, and learning from the edits that somebody's going to edit you if you're going to get published. Learning from how you're being edited and taking that just to take the next step and improve your work.
Did that kill you? I mean, I don't even know how the editing process goes. Like when you write your story and it's like maybe 800 words or maybe 1,000 words or whatever it is, and the editor gets it and slashes like some points out. Did that like crush you like the first time you submitted your work?
I don't think so. I never.
Or is it like constructive criticism?
Yeah,
kind
I've always
of
approached it as you might fight to keep a word in that you chose for a specific reason that somebody else thinks is unnecessary or something.
Right.
But I think, like I said, I always want to learn. I always want to get better. So just appreciating that somebody's taking the time to do that.
Right.
And to make it better for it, so that it comes across more clear to the
reader.
Yeah,
because everybody wants to help them do better and be better.
Did you get them? Is the message coming across? Is the most important thing, not my ego or anyone else
or opinion ego. In some cases.
Right.
Right.
For sure.
So, is it hard to stay? Or is that something you constantly have to go back to and like say, you know what, I have to disconnect myself from my own, or is that like, journalism? Is that you're not writing your opinion, right? You're writing the story, right? That's that's the thesis behind it.
Yes, I do have a column where I do share my opinion. Sometimes on like life and business.
I read it. It's interesting. It's
cool.
funny. Yeah.
Thank you. And sometimes it's on industry things.
Or the garden, whatever. Yeah. I saw that one about the garden.
I'm willing
I did
to
some
give
back work.
my opinion occasionally on when the National Association of Landscape Professionals changed their name. That was kind of controversial,
Right.
and I was in favor of it, and I was willing to give my opinion on that. But that's done in the space. That's my column with my picture on it.
Right.
When I'm doing reporting on an industry topic or on a feature story, yeah, you are supposed to remove yourself and just make sure that you're covering all sides and being fair to the sources and asking any questions the readers would ask. So it's kind of different spaces for different things.
Yeah, the transparency is awesome, and I think that's something that's journalism is a hot topic right now in the media, right?
Yeah.
With Facebook and the fake news out there, but there's no fake news here, folks.
No
It's just
fake
all
news.
right down to the point and all truth. And you know what? Any of these guys would love to have coffee with you. They're great people. I mean, Marisa came on my show today. She was all willing to do it, so thank you so much for coming on Lawn
I prefer
Doc.
to be behind the keyboard, but
Yeah, this
willing
is-
to get in front of the camera every once in a while.
Is this an exclusive? Is this the first ever?
Yes, the Long Doctor Live
You heard,
exclusive.
yeah, you heard it first, folks. The first ever interview with Landscape Management Magazine editor Marisa Palmieri. Thank you so much for coming on my show. It was
Fun.
a great time. Hope it wasn't too rough on you. I hope we
was
got
good.
it good. So if you're watching the stream, please like and share the stream. I did not ask you during this stream to please like and share the stream, but if you are watching it, please like and share the stream. I'd appreciate it. And until next Friday, we have a great guest next Friday. Very high media outlet source in Grand Rapids, talk show host. So stay tuned. Lawn Doctor Live next week, Friday at 11 a.m. live from Venue Tower. So
Awesome.
Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Kendall. Thank you.
time to get back to work, right?
Yeah, you have a meeting to be
Yeah,
at.
seriously.